Raider.
Hello everyone.
Welcome back
to Blue
to the Blue Ballers
podcast.
podcast.
Good job. Yeah, in sync.
In sync.
Yeah, that's how ready we are for this. Welcome back. Sal's on his silly face.
No,
I'm
not.
today.
I'm not. No, I'm very excited. We have a great podcast today.
A new era.
Yeah, it is.
Chelsea Football Club.
It's a new era. We're finally we are owned. We have an owner.
Yes.
After months of speculation and months of worrying whether we'd go bust and whether we would have a football club anymore. Who would you support if Chelsea went bust? Who would you support?
Probably be a London team. Then.
Okay, we've narrowed that down. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay. Who would what region of London would you support a team from?
I don't want to go Arsenal, Spurs.
Oh, I mean that's fairly obvious.
I really wouldn't. I'd probably.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Exactly.
Obviously.
Maybe Crystal Palace.
Palace.
Yeah.
Fair. I like
Bit
Palace.
of fun. Vieira. New
I like
stuff
Palace.
in. Zaha's cool. I like it.
Yeah, they've been a vibesy club for a while now. I like them.
Yeah.
Also Fulham. Also Barnet FC. If we wanted to go grassroots. Who else would you? Who would you consider? Just Palace and who else?
I don't really think I'd have that much love for any
Millwall.
other club. Hells no.
Whoa, no, what's wrong with Millwall?
Hells no.
Why? Whoa,
What's got rivalry with them, haven't we? Chelsea.
I mean, we haven't.
I mean, long time, but.
Were you alive?
They have the same thing with Leeds.
Were you alive when we had a rivalry?
I barely remember us having a rivalry with Leeds. Doesn't mean I don't hold it against them.
Probably, I don't know, man. I really like Fulham. I like their stadium a lot. I love their ground.
You know what? I'd watch Man City, if I'm being honest, just to enjoy the football.
You're clapped.
I don't care.
You're clapped.
The football that they play is fantastic, and I would watch them to enjoy the football.
It's people like you that ruin this society.
Tell me you don't appreciate their football.
No, I don't. Why would I appreciate anything about them? I'm really cranky at the moment. But I shouldn't be cranky because we have new owners, and it is Todd Boehly, controlling stakeholder of Chelsea Football Club, Bedard Egbali, who's the CEO of Clear Lake Capital, who is the organization or the body that are in charge of financing the entire bid, our finances going forward, in terms of providing resources to the club. So it's a joint effort. Todd Boehly, as most probably thought, is not this sole owner of Chelsea Football Club. It doesn't work like that. In most cases, to be honest, you don't get a lot of Roman Abramoviches, but we've got a fantastic owner. I think, we spoke about it on the last podcast. Is this guy comes with a lot of experience of running a sports franchise, of co-running a sports franchise. The LA Dodgers. He also has a stake in the LA Lakers. So he's well versed with what it is to own a sports franchise in a highly desirable location in the world, right? So, that's very exciting, obviously. What are your thoughts on Todd Boehly?
Yeah, I think he'll help us grow as a business. As a football, in terms of a football and stuff, I'm not sure how much impact he'll have in that sense. But as a business, I think that he'll bring a lot to the table, especially. But my interest has always been in football itself.
I think what was quite, for clarity purposes, what was important was that him and Bedard Egbali were both present for the Premier League Summit meeting, which happens at the end of every season. I'm not sure if it's to recap the season or to discuss future issues, or maybe it's a mix of both. I don't know. But the heads and the chairmen of all the football clubs in the Premier League, they come together and they have a meeting. I'm sure they were welcomed into the meeting, but significantly, it was Marina Granovskaya and Bruce Bock that used to attend those meetings, and Guy Lawrence, I think, who were all our controlling, sort of executives at board level when Roman was in charge. And this year, there was no Marina, there was no Bruce Buck, there was no Guy Lawrence. It was solely Todd Boehly and Bernard Gvardiol. So it's quite telling where they stand in the club. They're not just here to sort of take profit. They're here to actually have a hands-on sort of role with the club and steer the club. Keep it, maintain it. The hard work that's gone in to maintain that, and to also progress. Like you said, Chelsea in the business world maybe didn't fulfill their potential in terms of marketing, because I mean, if we look at facts, we should be the most marketable club in the world, not just in football, not just in London, not just in the Premier League. We should be the most marketable franchise and football club in the world. We're based in the most desired area of London, which is consequently in the world. In my opinion, it's the most expensive area to live in the world. We are an elite football club franchise. We're the most successful football club franchise in the last 15 years while Roma was in charge. We continue to maintain our status at the top. We won the Champions League last year. We've managed to maintain a high quality squad for a number of years now. So naturally, there's an incredible amount of potential in terms of our marketability. We should be among the best, which are Real Madrid and Manchester United and Barcelona, all of these franchises. We should be among them in terms of the revenue that we should be bringing in through our marketing and through our global presence. And I think, like you said, Todd Boehly has a massive role in that sense. He has the right people around him. How specifically do you think he can grow our brand? You having an economics background and business understanding, what is it that we've been lacking, in your opinion, to take us to the next level of being a global brand?
Well, that's quite specific. I think it comes down to how is it done differently in America, with the LA Dodgers and the other team you said, LA Lakers?
Lakers,
Yeah, that he has shares in. What is it that they do differently? And can that be applied to Chelsea across the globe? I think there's a big market for us outside of Europe that we could capture, and I think that he will be interested in that. He should be interested in that because that's where we can generate a lot of revenue, a lot of interest in the club as well. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
How do you think it'll benefit us though? Because the way I see it is the more interest that we can generate in us as a franchise to markets where maybe football and maybe Chelsea aren't as known or as covered. Maybe they're able to create links between American sports and the Premier League and the Champions League, and consequently, like I said, Chelsea would be at the forefront of that. With Todd Boehly and with his background in, being able to bring brand growth. I think with the Dodgers and with several other sports franchises in US sports. There have been people specifically put in place to grow those franchises, around Europe, around China, around the world, basically. And it always felt like a bit like Arsenal were given they had a lot more global reach. Liverpool, Manchester United, Tottenham, slowly catching up as well. Manchester City now in the Middle East as well with their owners. PSG have obviously done an incredible job of being the most advertised club that haven't really done much winning level. So, it only shows how well they've done. The fact that they're not serial winners in Europe, and still managed to have Kendall Jenner wearing their shirt. So, it should be easy for us in theory.
Yeah, and I think it also comes down to creating special memories with the team the teams that we have, making sure that they are that they create memories for new fans to follow, to follow the team. I think that's how it's been. And a lot of people remember the days of Drogba, Lampard, etc., etc. That stays with them. So I think we need to create new memories for people that for the base which we haven't captured yet, the fan base which we haven't captured yet.
Yeah, an interesting quote that I came across a few months ago was can't remember who said it, but they said, people don't remember what you say; they remember how you feel. And I think what Todd Boehly is in the conferences that he has attended and spoken in, because he's talked about how to enhance fan engagement and how to make fans more involved in sports in their team and creating a better experience for them, so that it goes both ways. If fans benefit from a better experience, the club will benefit from fans, and we will see an organic sort of increase in revenue through that way. We're not just pumping millions in and creating debt for ourselves. We're actually generating real green wealth. So for us, it's a great, for me, in my opinion, it's a great match. Obviously, there were people like Jim Ratcliffe, and there were Saudi consortiums that looked very interesting, because that's what we were used to. We were used to just single people controlling, the club, pumping in the finances. We know, the running cost of football clubs, it's not cheap. But at the same time, if you have your 20, 30, 40 billion pounds, dollars, whatever, then these things become more of a, like a hobby, like a plaything, where you do it to sort of brag. It almost serves like a platform to say, okay, I own this asset, I've grown this asset, and they'll sign players left, right, and center. Maybe they're not natural fits for the team, but they can afford it, so they do it. So that ownership model maybe is going to be over soon. Maybe Manchester City and PSG will be the last remaining clubs that have that model, and we'll see how that goes, because you never know. I mean, like with Abramovich, we didn't see that coming. You never know if sanctions start to get imposed on Middle East countries. Things are just they develop so quickly, and we don't know how that goes. So, in a way, I'm glad we have the owners that we do now. They seem to have experience with them. They're not just interested in making money out of Chelsea. They want to genuinely come in and do well, and they've signaled their intent to make some serious decisions this summer in terms of player personnel, and ensuring that Thomas Tuchel has complete control over transfers as well. They want to see him succeed with the club. He wants they want to reward him for the amount of sort of resilience that he had, during this whole sanctioning period, where he had to answer very difficult questions where club executives wouldn't take that on, and he did. He spoke about things that managers shouldn't have to speak about. They should only have to speak about football. And okay, the occasional question about political affairs is fine, but it felt like every press conference Thomas Tuchel was there to answer very, very difficult questions, which could have been very subjective as well, in terms of where does his personal opinion overlap with the club's opinion of things, and it all got very messy very quickly. But he seemed to control it really well. I'm really happy that things have now settled down, and Thomas Tuchel is still here, and he's more than likely going to be in charge of us next season. So let's talk a bit about Tuchel, because I think he deserves his praise. How do you feel about Tuchel being with us? It's done now.
I think one word that I would associate with him is professional. I think he is that in every sense, and it just shows with how balanced he is and how cool-headed he is with the things he says, the actions he makes. I haven't heard of any players falling out with him, or any staff or anyone having issues with him, because I genuinely believe that he has the club's best interests at heart, and he acts on that. I think he'll be given a head coach sort of role or responsibilities this summer.
Yeah,
With everything you're saying about the transfer decisions being made by him. So it'll be interesting to see what he decides, because this team will be fully in his image now.
I think he already had the head coach role. I think he's now being given the manager role. This is what a manager is. A manager essentially
Sorry, manager. Yeah.
calls the shots. He builds the team that he wants, and really that's what Klopp and Guardiola have had at Liverpool and City. They've had the time to sort of stabilize the club. They've had the time to give the give faith to the ownership and to the club directors that they're the right people to take the club forward. I know it's stupid to think about Guardiola or Klopp having to say that, but in modern football they have to prove themselves. They have to prove why they should be there for the long term. And even then, they have to prove that they are actually going to stick around. They're not just there to win a couple of trophies and then move on to a Barcelona or a Real Madrid or a Bayern Munich or whatever. They're there for the long term, and it's shown in the success that they've both had. Okay, maybe Liverpool don't have the trophies to prove exactly that, but they're in my opinion, they're up against the greatest Premier League team of all time. Really, it is very difficult to think about Manchester City not being amongst the greatest of all time. And that's only come about because City have given Guardiola the time and the resources to build that team. Now, you compare that to what we have or what we've had in the last few years, and we've constantly changed managers. We've constantly bought, specific players for each specific manager. And every time we change the manager, those particular players might not fit into the next manager's plans. And then we move them on, and then we see them do really well. And it became very loss bearing. We had to take on a lot of losses, and in terms of financial fair play, we've had to part with very good players just for the sake of this very loose hiring and firing policy that we had. With Tuchel, we've got a fantastic manager, and we said this on the last podcast as well. Like his talent is undoubted, and he's shown it time and time again that he's so clever, and he's so up there with the best.
Very versatile as well.
Extremely versatile. He knows how to change system. He knows how to get the most out of players. He can make tweaks during a game. He can make tweaks before a game. He knows how to win big games. Maybe last season was not a perfect representative of that, but he's proven himself at PSG, at Dortmund, and Chelsea now. He is the man. He is one of the best coaches in world football. It's undoubted. And I'm glad he's been given full control of transfers. He should be able to build his squad. He's proven that he's good enough to lead us. The Champions League wasn't just a fluke; it was genuine coaching. I always think that sporting directors are good for a club if they can be in cohesion with the manager. Sometimes sporting directors are not good because they have a different idea of football than the manager does. I think if we keep our faith in Tuchel, if we keep him cemented into our club and embed him properly, and then provide him a sporting director that can say what type of player, what profile of player do you want, goes away, does a bit of research, and comes up with 5-10 different players of the profile that Tuchel wants, that's ideal, because then Tuchel doesn't have to focus on which player is what. He, as a manager, you think of players and who do you want? I want Kylian Mbappe. I want Lionel Messi. I want Neymar. I want Robert Lewandowski. These are just players that anyone could come up with, but coming up with the right type of player, the right profile of player, whether it's £100 million player or a £10 million player, it has to be right from now on. We can't just go on bearing losses and ruining our wage structure and all those kind of things. Lukaku, I still to this day think Lukaku should have worked in our system, and he did. For the first 3 or 4 months, work perfectly into Tuchel's system. What happened thereafter was unfortunate. He had a long-term injury. He suffered COVID, and then obviously that interview was there as well. So it all kind of went wrong very quickly for him. But that was just one player, and who knows how a window of 5, 6 different Thomas Tuchel players would go. So I think the main discussion here today is sort of what are we looking at this summer? What should we be addressing in terms of positions in our team, incomings, outgoings? Do you want to kick us off with sort of the most obvious areas that we need strengthening, and then we can look at sort of places where we can improve as well?
Yeah. Let's talk transfers.
Yeah.
I think this last season has shown how important the wing backs are to our team and how much we need depth in those positions. What's your thoughts on that? What's your
Yeah,
thoughts on what we can do?
I think the obvious areas now that we need to address is defense, right? So we've lost Rudiger and Andreas Christensen on free transfers. It's rumored that Azpilicueta and Alonso are very close to moves to Barcelona. It's just pending Chelsea approval and how much of a fee we can agree. It won't be a high fee, but potentially we could be losing 4 defenders in one window. Normally that's a cause for concern. I said on the last one that I think maybe it might be a good thing that we're letting go of players that maybe they weren't good enough to win the Premier League for us, because we had them for a long period of time and they didn't win the Premier League. I'm talking strictly about Rudiger and Christensen. Alonso, great season, in 2016-17. He hasn't really been great since then. Azpilicueta is obviously a club legend, can't deny it. But we have to move on, and I think it's the perfect time to move on from these players. But we have to be very clever about it. I think right now all we have is Thiago Silva, Malang Sarr, and Trevor Chalobah that are the only recognised defenders that we have for the central positions. For me, what is interesting is how does Thomas Tuchel look at our football next season? Does he change the system? Does he go with a new formation? And if so, are we now looking at, say, for where it was 3 centre backs, are we now looking at 2 centre backs? And in that sense, do we now need only 4 centre backs to cover 2 positions? Or are we going to continue having 3 centre backs and maybe needing 5 defenders for 3 positions? Right? So for me, what would make the most sense, what would be the safest bet would be to go to a 4. Absolutely, and it would be economically better to go to a 4. And in that sense, you look at Thiago Silva, you look at Levi Colwill, who we can bring back from his loan, and in my opinion, good enough for Chelsea. I think he's been phenomenal at Huddersfield, and he's ready for a Premier League experience. Maybe not coming in starting every game, immediately, but I think he definitely deserves a chance to come to the team. The most heavily linked, obviously, is Jules Kounde, Sevilla defender, who I absolutely love. I think he's phenomenal. Really, really solid defender, and he can play a number of systems, number of positions. So, no brainer for me. Then we've been linked with Josko Gvardiol, who's the centre back at RB Leipzig. Again, fantastic defender, left-footed. Can also play left back, can play left centre back, can play in a back 4. So brilliant. Today we've been linked with Presnel Kimpembe and also Matthias de Ligt. So we've been linked with good players. Who would you like to see us sign, considering the system and also the amount that they would cost us?
Firstly, I think Tuchel's really fond of the 3-4-3 system that we have in place. So I'm going to firstly go with that. Thiago Silva, of course, would be my priority to place in that system. I think Kounde will be the most likely that we sign. Either our first or second transfer of the summer window period. Kimpembe, De Ligt, I'm not sure how likely that is. They're both great players, of course. But yeah, those are superstars, and I don't know. I always felt that they weren't players that we were gonna get. Gvardiol is a interesting prospect. I think he'll be really I think it'd be really good. I think it'd be good. And do you think that how different is he from Colwill though? Do you think that he
Yeah, I mean,
be able to?
it's a great question because I think they are quite similar in terms of their attributes. They're both left-footed. They're both quite aggressive, but they're also very clever. They know when to back off. Good height. I think Colwell's I think a bit taller. Um, Aerially, they're both really good. They can both move with the ball. They can both make progressive passes with ease. So you're looking at profile of two players that are very similar. I don't think that's a problem because I think, like I said, I know you prefer the 3-4-3, but for me, if we go to a four, that's four players for two positions. It works perfectly because then we have two left-footed defenders, two right-footed defenders. Gives with Thiago Silva as well. It gives us a bit of time to sort of look at what type of profile we actually need, what suits us best. Because maybe Kounde might not be great in a four, but I think he would. I've seen him in a four. I think he's proven himself. So for me, he's a long term sort of concrete player in the system, whether it's a four or a three. But yeah, as far as Colwell and Gvardiol go, I think it's survival of the fittest, really, isn't it? It's like whoever wants it enough can only be beneficial for us. It helps that Colwell is our player already. He's free. He's come through the academy, so he's going to have that extra determination to come through. And certainly if we sign Gvardiol, he's going to be competing hard because he knows it's not a world class defender that he's coming up against. So it can only be a positive on all sides. And the same for Gvardiol. For Gvardiol, if he comes in, he's thinking, I've come from RB Leipzig. This guy's come from Huddersfield. I come with a massive price tag. There's going to be priority for me to do well. So I'm going to give it all I can, because if I don't, I'm out. It's simple as that. Because clearly Colwell won't command the same fee that Gvardiol would if we were to sell either one of them. So for me, it's a no. It's not an issue. I don't think it's a problem. I think they should just take it as a challenge and try and push each other to be the starting player in that position. That's what would be ideal.
Okay. Do you think Trevor Chalobah is affected much by
I think so.
these players?
I think so. And I think if we play in a three, maybe not as much affected because he's already well versed with the position. He's played it already this season, and I think he's done well. I think his level just dropped a bit, probably in training as well, from what has been said. But he's obviously a talented player. He's got all the attributes to do well.
Yeah.
In defense. I loved watching his highlights when he was at Lorient, when he played in midfield for them. Excellent defensive midfielder who can also play that role really well. So I think that Chalobah still has a big role to play with us. I don't think we should be selling him or loaning him. I think we should be keeping him definitely. Malang Sarr on the other hand, I think if we're signing two defenders, I really don't see the point in him staying, and he's left-footed as well, so I really don't see the point in him staying. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the defenders. Is there anything you want to add to it that I haven't sort of covered?
No, I think that's about right. Only thing is, I feel with the amount of games we play, how burnt out our team has been this season. I think it's good to have more options for defenders. Of course, players want to have playtime.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having Cole and Gvardiol battling out, for example, is a good thing for us, whether in a back four or back three.
I think interestingly, when you say the amount of games that we play, I think what's interesting is that the World Cup is going to be held between November and the end of December. So a lot of the players that are not going to the World Cup, and that will be quite a few of them are not going to the World Cup. They will have the rest. They will have the time off. And they will also have time to sharpen up and get ready for the second half of the season. I think that might be an advantage for us. In other years where we've had to just sort of grind out seasons with thin squads, that won't be the case this year. We will have time for players to recover from injuries, to recover from fatigue, to get ready really to hammer on. I know other teams will have that advantage as well, but for our squad personally, I think it gives us a lot of time to even plan for the January window. So not necessarily that we have to make every signing this summer. Maybe we will have time in November or December to get those transfers ready for January. So, either way, for me, what would be ideal is to sign 2 defenders. I don't personally, if we didn't sign anyone else after 2 defenders, I wouldn't be upset. I think, we need to be realistic about, having the balance between players that we want and players that we need. I think getting players that you need is more important any day to players that you want. I don't think our attack needs anything else. I think it can be enhanced, it can be bettered, but anyone's attack can be bettered. But we need 2 defenders, like without doubt. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the defensive positions. Then, like you said, the wing backs. Do you have like names that you would like to see us recruit, or?
We're always linked with different wing backs. We're quite closely linked with Ivan Perisic, who is now signed. He signed officially now for Tottenham.
For Tottenham, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah,
great signing for them, by the way.
Of course. Especially a Conte player as well, so he'll be very happy with that. Any rumors? Any players that you think?
Yeah, I think we've
been
been linked with a couple wing backs. I think with Borna Sosa, who's a left wing back or left back. I'm not biggest fan of him. I think he's okay, but that's what really that you want, innit? You want a player that's not too good that he's sort of putting Chilwell out of a job, and you don't want someone who's not capable of deputizing. Economical option, and my brain says just bring back Emerson, let Alonso go, bring back Emerson, and we'll be all good. Right back, I love Dujon Sterling. I've liked Dujon Sterling for the last 6-7 years. At academy level on his loans, I think he's a fantastic player. Can also play in the back 3 if he can, if needed. So I think he'd be a fantastic deputy for Reece. So for me, like wing back is not that much of an issue.
It's internal, we won't need transfers.
I don't see the need to spend a lot of money when you've got Ben Chilwell and Reece James. I don't think you need to spend a lot of money on the deputy.
I think we were just missing out on good covers for them this last season, which has shown. Okay, so I mean that for me, that's it for wing backs. We can move on to midfield.
Yeah.
Now, where do we start?
We're looking at each other.
Where do we start?
Yeah.
I think CDM is a position. Well, we're playing with the 2.
Can I before we talk about targets, I'm just going to get out my thing. I think we don't have to do anything to our midfield.
No,
nothing at all. If we can go forward with Jorginho and Kovacic, I'd be so happy. Like I said, I'm looking at a 4-2-3-1. I think that's the formation that we have the best possible players to execute that formation out, successfully. Jorginho Kovacic to me would be phenomenal in that system, and we have to. That should be a genuine possibility. So I wouldn't touch midfield right now.
So, how likely do you believe Jorginho will stay for us? I think he has 1 season left on his contract.
I think he stays. I don't think.
Do you think we'll be able to extend it?
I think so. I don't think Juventus can afford. Well, they can afford him. I just don't think they're as serious as the media make it out, because they would have signed it by now. He's an Italian international. He's a fantastic midfielder. We know that. He's a very specific type of midfielder for teams. So you don't just sign him because he can do several things. I think he's good at what he does, because not many people can do what he does. So for that reason, I don't think Juventus will sign him. I don't think he will. I think by this time next year, I don't think they will even be interested, because they probably have signed another midfielder. He'll be, I think, probably 31 or something, by the time, it's next summer. So when he's on a free transfer. So potentially he could leave on a free, I don't know, but I think we should definitely, extend his contract. For me, I love Declan Rice. I think he's fantastic. So, at some point I'd like us to sign him, because I don't think that time is right now. I think in the future, when his contract is maybe, another year left, or, on a free, he'd be great. We know that he loves the club, and I think it's destined for him to be a Chelsea player. So yeah, I mean, I was a big fan of Tchouaméni, but he's almost signed for Real Madrid. And if it's not Real Madrid, it'll be PSG. I don't think we can offer more than what they are. So that's one gone. Bissouma, I love Jan Basuma, but he's got sort of criminal investigation cases pending against him for whatever it is. So it's tough to really bring him into the plans or into the rumors. So as far as I'm concerned, Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic is still going to be our midfield, our best midfielders to choose from next season.
I did Conor Gallagher and
I
Ruben Loftus-Cheek as well.
Again, I'm looking at the 4-2-3-1, and I think Gallagher, Mason Mount are both have to be the players for the number 10 role. I think those two can switch it up, and we're going to have 5 subs available next season. So, we should be able to see a lot of Mason Mount and Conor Gallagher switching it up, between them. So I'm not worried about midfield whatsoever. What about you?
Yeah, I think in terms of attack, it'll be how do you say it? It'd be satisfying to see 5 subs with the quality that we have in the squad, attacking wise. It'll be interesting to see how we change our team mid through a game. Well, I've always seen how he changes the whole formation, or just one sub, for example, at half time, and everything changes with us. So for him to have 5 subs, I'm really keen to see how he uses that.
I think the rotation will help a lot with fatigue and to not burn players out. We want to see players at their highest level available. So it will definitely be a good rule, and it will definitely help that, like you said, tactically. There are some managers that won't be able to use it wisely. Guys like Tuchel does. So it'll definitely help. But like I said, I don't think midfield is an area that we need to particularly focus on. Okay. I don't think we need to spend money at this point.
Yeah, I agree completely.
And also bear in mind we have like Billy Gilmore coming back. We have Ruben Loftus-Cheek, we have Ross Barkley, so we have options. It's not that we're lacking like we are in defence. Can we be better? Of course we can, but I think having Jorginho, Kovacic, and Kante to choose from is not the worst, sort of options to have.
Okay. And when we talk about up front, how likely do you think it is for Lukaku to stay with us for next season, given all of the news that's circulating?
We've talked about Lukaku extensively the last couple podcasts, so it's obvious that I don't want to see him at Chelsea next season. I think his time with us is done for good now. I think if he wanted to make a success out of it, he would have, and he would have made it a point to say that, look, I know this season hasn't gone the way we wanted it to, but for him personally, but next season I'll be back, I'll be hungry, and I'll be ready to go, and I'm ready to do what it takes to help the team, knowing that he's £100 million player, knowing that he has the highest wages in the club. So I was expecting a lot of him, simply because of his age and his experience. I would have thought that he'd take on more of a proactive role in ensuring or assuring us that he's here and he's here to play and stay and do well. He's not done that. He wants to go back to Inter. Reliable sort of reporters have said that he's already engaging with Inter directors to make the move happen. They've already talked about or are discussing a loan move because they can't afford the entire fee at once. So they've amortized the fee by making it a 2-year loan potentially, which comes to say 25 million euros, brings down the price of him to about 70 million. Maybe in 2 years might go down to 50, and then maybe we can balance it out a bit. But what's for sure is I don't want to see him at Chelsea. I don't think he has a place at Chelsea anyway. But we definitely need to move forward. We've been linked with most recently Gabriel Jesus, who's going to be leaving City because they've bought Erling Haaland. For me, phenomenal player. I think he was brilliant even before he went to City. He was a player that was well coveted all around Europe, and City got their hands on him. I think he's been a bit restricted in Pep's system, but I think if you're playing a more free-flowing system where he can do what he wants and interchange and all that, phenomenal player. And I think he can be exactly what we need. up front. Maybe we've lacked a bit of speed, and his pressing ability is first class. For me, he's the perfect signing to play up front. What do you think of Gabriel Jesus?
Oh, he's super, and he's had a great season as well, hasn't he? He's looked like probably one of the most informed strikers.
Great second half of the season, definitely. Yeah.
So no, if we can bring that to Chelsea, and he's only 25,
26.
Yeah, he's got
very young.
many years ahead of him. He's probably not even his prime years yet. So if we can bring him to Chelsea, that would be super, super, super. I think in terms of the rest of the attackers that we have, personally, I feel that they're integrating better with the team. As from more what I see,
is there anyone you would sell from our attack?
Well, we can go through him. Havertz first, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I really think he'll grow to become a superstar, even more so than what he is right now as a younger star.
Completely agree.
Mount to Mr. Chelsea. Hakim Ziyech, interesting. I've always appreciated the way that he plays, how technical he is, and I feel that he still has something to show. I wouldn't write him off just yet because, well, as I said, I think he is fantastic. The Wizard of Holland, isn't it?
Wizard of Stamford Bridge, mate.
Of course, yeah. So yeah, I would like to see him stay. Timo Werner, very frustrating because of all of the qualities that he has, it just hasn't. He hasn't got it. He hasn't hit it the way that.
So would you sell
all of us would have hoped for it.
Would you sell him? That's why I asked.
Yeah, it's very difficult to say because, if I still think that he has the passion to do well for us.
Hypothetically, if we were to sign, we've been linked with Ousmane Dembele and Gabriel Jesus, and today we've been linked with Raheem Sterling. If we were to bring all three of them in, would you part with any of them instead? Would you rather bring them any of them in, or would you rather keep what we have right now?
Jesus firstly,
so you'd bring in Jesus. Yeah. Who's leaving?
Lukaku.
Lukaku goes out. Okay.
Yeah. Dembele
comes in. Who would you send out?
In that case, I think Timo Werner would be the one to go.
Okay, so
or Ziyech, one of those two at least.
So no more Werner, no more Ziyech. Okay, and then Raheem Sterling. Would you bring him in?
That one I'm not too sure.
So we'd have Dembele, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, Hakim Ziyech, or Werner.
Yeah.
One of them would have to leave in order for Raheem Sterling to come in. Would you part with any of them to bring Sterling in?
Do you think he's?
Nah.
Do you think he'll do it?
Nah.
I don't.
I'm good.
Yeah, I wasn't too keen on Sterling.
If you'd asked me 5 years ago and we had Eden Hazard and we were playing him and playing Sterling and Hazard together with Ollie G up front, I'd have bite your hands off, mate. I would have taken it all day long, but not anymore.
Yeah. So I think Jesus is, great prospect. So you're keeping
Dembele. Jesus, you're keeping Havertz, you're keeping Mason Mount,
Pulisic,
Christian Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah, Hudson-Odoi I'd keep. He's so young, and it's unfortunate with the injuries and the COVID and things that have happened to him. But I still feel that he has such great potential.
So assuming you're saying 3-4-3.
I'm saying that's what I believe Tuchel will go with.
What do you want?
I've always been a big fan of 4-2-3-1, not to just follow you, but for me that's personally been one of my favorite formations I've seen Chelsea play in.
It seems the most suited system for what we have as well right now.
Yeah.
So assuming we go 3-4-3, you would keep Havertz, Jesus, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, Mason Mount, Conor Gallagher, one of Hakim Ziyech or Timo Werner.
Yeah.
Dembele. And Dembele.
Come in, yeah.
Is anyone I'm missing out on?
No, I think that's fine.
Is that everyone? Yeah. So that's 8 players.
And Hudson-Odoi. I
already did Hudson-Odoi.
Okay. But for Hudson-Odoi, I'd possibly put him out on loan because I think he needs consistency, consistent play time.
Okay. So let's say 7 players for 3 positions.
Yeah.
That seems excessive. So we're gonna have to make some
I mean,
tough
we have 5
decisions.
subs. We have 5 subs this season, and we have Champions League football as well.
Mm.
And we've needed that depth
Yeah.
this season. It's come
Well,
in
this
handy
season
for us.
we had Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, Timo Werner, Lukaku, Hakim Ziyech, who else? Mason Mount, Kai Havertz. That's 7 players anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get what you're saying. It's stretched out. So and Lukaku, that's 8. So yeah, I get that. So maybe we can just replace what we have for better players. Dembele would come on a free. For me, Dembele and Jesus is sweet.
Yeah.
I'm good with Lukaku and either Werner. I would have to say Werner because it's tough to keep him when I know Hakim Ziyech can provide something different. I don't think Werner's providing anything different to Jesus. I think Jesus does what Werner does better.
Dembele and
Dembele,
Jesus are so
exactly.
fast as well. I think they could provide what Timo Werner isn't.
So if we go through your 11, what you would like to see, we can put it up on screen, and then I'll put mine up on screen, and then we can compare it. But yeah,
what we can do,
for it.
We can do 2 formations. One, the one that we would
let's go the one that you want. Like, what do you want to see?
Yeah. And I think separately we can put up one which we believe Tuchel will.
No, I think that will come when we have more idea of what players we're signing. But yeah, do your team. What do you want to see? Okay. Or we can agree on this. Well, if we're both going 4-2-3-1, we can start with Mendy.
Yeah,
that's both agree on it.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think there's a bigger conversation to have about Mendy next season. I mean, it's coming, but I don't want to say too much.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the back 4, I'm going Chilwell. Are you going Chilwell?
Yeah, of course.
Chilwell.
I think for me, Chilwell, Thiago, Kounde, and Reece. That would be my back 4.
Okay, see, I'd go a bit different. I'd go Chilwell, probably De Ligt, or Gvardiol. Actually, I think De Ligt will be difficult to get on a cheap, so I don't think I would go for De Ligt. I'd actually go Chilwell, Gvardiol, Kounde, and James, and then I'd have Thiago and Cole as backup. Thiago because of his age, I don't want him to burn out, and Cole because he's younger and I want him to make that position his own. I want him to beat out the competition.
So when we're playing our biggest game, you wouldn't have Thiago starting. Or would you have him starting?
Oh, that's tough.
Because for me, I would have Thiago Silva starting for our biggest matches at the very least.
I'd probably agree. Yeah, I'd probably go Thiago Silva and either Gvardiol or Kounde, depending on who's on form. So yeah, I'd just sort of be a bit different than yours there. Midfield, the 2 positions.
Kante and either Jorginho or Kovacic. I can't choose between them for me. I'll just go with Kovacic for the sake of it. Yeah. But Jorginho equally as well, fitting the system.
I think Jorginho is very, very important to the way we play. So he'd have to play for me. Kante, I have an issue with his fitness, and I think he's a player that can play one-off games now. I don't think he can play week to week, whereas I think Kovacic can. Jorginho, Kovacic for me is a sure bet. Like, I have to have both of them in that too, and I think they work so well together as well in terms of passing and moving, and their general reading of the pitch is brilliant. So I think definitely Jorginho, Kovacic for me. Number 10 position.
Mason.
Main man.
Yeah.
Main man Mason.
Yeah.
So there's no dispute about that. Him and Gallagher, I think, will be fantastic, rotating that role, and also for Gallagher to take the load off Mason as well.
Yeah.
Left wing.
Pulisic or Dembele, he can play left wing as well, can't he?
Yeah.
Or he can play either way.
Predominantly plays right
wing.
Because he's left-footed. He's both-footed, but he likes to dribble with his left.
I'll probably stick with Pulisic.
Yeah.
In that case, yeah.
So Pulisic, Mount, who's on the right?
Dembele, I'd say, yeah.
I agree. Mm-hmm. The only thing with Pulisic is I wouldn't go Pulisic. I would go Hudson-Odoi. I think I love Hudson-Odoi. I really love him. I think he's a player that's just waiting to explode. He's got his fitness back. He's got sort of his game hat back. So I really want to see him kick on this season and make that position his own. I think he can. He has the talent to do it. He has the all the attributes to make that his own. He just has to be more risk taking. He needs to push harder in 1v1s and also work harder off the ball as well with his movement. So I'd go Hudson-Odoi, you'd go Pulisic. Right, I absolutely agree. Ousmane Dembele is no brainer. And, on a free transfer, even if it takes 30, 40 million on signing bonus and, high wages, I would take him all day long. Because I think you spend 100, 150 million on players like him. And in comparison to what we'd be paying for him, no brainer, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so that leaves us with the upfront position: Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, Armando Broja.
Yeah.
Would you keep Broja at the club? You need 3 strikers. In my opinion, we need 3 strikers.
Yeah. I'm not sure how happy he'll be though with being third choice.
It's not his choice.
Well, he'd probably request a loan if he's not getting enough game time for him.
I think he has a better chance of playing more games this season than he did last season or this past season. He's obviously very talented, but he didn't. He started very well, and he had a few games in the middle of the season where he did really well. But I think he only ended up with like 6 Premier League goals or something. So, which is disappointing considering how much hype has gone behind him.
Yeah.
I think he can stand to learn a lot from guys like Jesus and Havertz and Mason and all these guys. Just training with them alone will help him, I think, a lot. Playing cup games, we know he will play a lot of cup games. He will play a lot of group stage Champions League games. We know he can fill in the Premier League. If Havertz gets injured, we only have 1 striker if he's not around. So I think the striker position, you should always have 3 strikers. Always have players that are ready to come in and fill in. And I think Broja's at an age where he can definitely do that. I don't think he needs to be the top man at a top club right now. I think he can work his way there. And when the opportunity comes, take it with both hands.
Okay.
So who are you picking from?
For me,
Havertz, so assuming Broja stays, who are you picking from Havertz and Jesus to play up front?
Oh, Jesus. It would be Jesus for sure.
So you'd bench Havertz?
Yeah.
Confidently.
Damn. Have you seen how well Jesus has been doing? And he's been doing it consistently in the Prem.
Yeah, I get that.
So
but in the
for me,
best,
he starts.
in the important games, who do you start?
Jesus.
Same here.
Yeah.
I have to agree. And I think in the easier games, I think I would rotate them.
Even in the tough matches, I would rotate them as well.
Yeah, to keep them fresh.
Yeah.
But I think also it depends also on the system that we played. Again, like if we're playing 4-2-3-1 and we're behind, we can take Kovacic off. We can bring Havertz on and make him play as a double A or as a supporting striker. So we have that option with Havertz. We still know Havertz will start a lot of games. He will start at least 30 games a season. So, there's no sort of debate about him getting less playtime or whatever. Like it will depend a lot on form. We've seen that Tuchel is very fair in terms of whoever performs the best and is having a good run. Maybe they will drop off at some point and then the next person will have to come in and show. So he's been, fair in that sense. I think Havertz and Jesus for that upfront position is brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. So. Yeah. I think there's our team. I think we've answered the question.
The transfers that we're looking for this season, this summer window is Gvardiol, Kounde, Dembele, Jesus. And that's all.
I think I'll be happy if that's our window. I'd be ecstatic.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think Dembele alone or even just Jesus alone is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Of course, we actually need defenders for this, but
we've got Emerson coming back, we've got Gallagher coming back, we've got Broja, we've got Gilmore, we've got Dujon, Colwill, Levi Colwill as well. So we've got those players coming back. So we don't necessarily need to have a blockbuster 10-player window. Yeah. So this looks very realistic. I feel like £150 million is a fair amount to get those 4 players.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good amount to guess. Hopefully, it all goes to plan. It's time frame looks very small because we start pre-season this time next month. I think So we'll see how things go before that. But yeah, I think we've answered pretty much everything.
Hopefully, we can complete all these transfers before then, so
Yeah.
that they at least have a good chance to integrate into the squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
All right. I think when will be the next time we do this?
I think we have a lot more opportunity now for obvious reasons. We don't need to broadcast them, but kind of got myself a roommate. No, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
We'll do
great.
one, as soon as we can. I know we in the past we always say we'll do one next game, we'll do one next week, but we could potentially genuinely do that now. So
yeah,
let's go, baby.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks
All right.
for listening, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you very much. Safe.
Cheers.
Sign.
Raider.